Hi, my name is Matt Kosterman. I'm a 56-year-old white guy living in Chicago, Illinois. For the first 50 plus years of my life, I didn't think I was allowed to be here. Not just here in Chicago, but here, on Earth, in a body. I suffered from depression for most of my life. I smoked my first joint at age 11 and had my first drink of Southern Comfort straight from the bottle at age 13. While the cannabis never really took hold as an addiction, I drank alcohol for the next 20 years, many times to excess. In 1998, I began psychotherapy, and in the year 2000, I started on antidepressants. I spent 12 years on them and 15 years in traditional talk therapy. Meanwhile, I built a successful business, became a father to 2 amazing girls, and rehabbed an old house in a nice suburb. I did all the things. In 2010, I went through divorce, foreclosure, and bankruptcy. Fun times. After much flailing about, I got my head on straight in 2015, only to begin experiencing severe chronic pelvic pain along with fibromyalgia. I spent nearly 3 years in the Western medical system trying desperately to heal. In 2018, out of money and out of patience, my healing journey really kicked into gear after my first magic mushroom trip. The years since have been an amazing and challenging ride. I've traversed the physical and not-so-physical worlds and been fortunate to work with many, many talented healers. As a result of all my efforts, I now find myself in a place of receiving, contentment, and prosperity, the likes of which had eluded me for most of my life. There's a man named Daryl Anka who channels a being called Bashar. Bashar describes the process of engaging with a healer, that of giving yourself what is essentially a permission slip to move towards wholeness, healing, and right relationship. This podcast is an effort to share some of what I've learned and introduce you to some of the people and ways that literally gave me what feels like my permission slip for existence. It's also an effort to continue to spread the word that the traditional Western medical system, while effective for a great many things, is not necessarily the be-all, end-all solution to every health problem, especially when the problem may be more spiritual than it is physical, as it was in my case. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoy it. Please like, subscribe, and do all the social media things that help spread the word. Share these links with people directly in your community. It is my sincere hope that you and others will benefit from my experiences. Hi, this is Matt, and we are back on the permission slip. Today, I am with Lisa Parker, the founder of Trilome. And Lisa is you just told me and I forgot it. Tell me what you are, Lisa.
Fair enough. Psychedelic-integrative bodywork. So I'm a body worker and psychedelic facilitator and a Kambo practitioner, actually.
Yeah, and Kambo is the frog poison.
Well, medicine, yes. I only say that just because words they have different connotations to it. And there's frog in the medicine. Psychedelic realm, there's 2 medicines that come from animals. One's a frog, one's a toad.
Right. I just like to tell people that I like freebasing toad poison because
it
sounds cool.
Yeah. Through a superficial burn on the skin that makes you purge. It's wonderful, actually.
Yeah, the frog. You can have the frog. I'll take the toad.
Perfect. It's been one of my greatest allies, and I'm assuming we're going to get into this, but through Absolutely. The Kambo medicine, really taught me how to really regulate my nervous system, and so it's been just a really beautiful medicine. So I'm happy to finally carry that as one of my medicines.
Yeah, lovely. So. And I'm in LA. I was here for a photography work job, and we were able to connect in person, which I always love doing. So thanks for making the trip down here. LA traffic is not usually fun.
Oh, happy to. I'm so grateful, like I said, for the invitation just to have the conversation. So thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to meet you in person too.
Good to meet you. Yeah. For sure. We met in an online group, and she was kind enough to volunteer to do this. It's interesting. This will be, I don't know which episode, 15 or 16 or something. And psychedelics have been a major part, which I've hinted at in some of my other episodes, but a major part of my healing. And I specifically didn't want this to be a psychedelic podcast because those exist. But it was sort of the holy trinity has been psychedelics and body work, but which Lisa does both of, which then opened me to a spirituality and a spiritual connection that I never knew I had. So we share a lot of things in common, and that I was for quite some time I thought I was going down the road of being a body work practitioner working with psychedelics. So very similar. I realized that that's not my path, and that's fine. But it's a great path and it's very beautiful. A lot of healing.
Not at all what I thought I would be doing either.
I know, yeah.
Totally different direction than I thought I would go in.
Yeah, so give us I always love the origin stories. So where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Detroit, in a house that was haunted.
A haunted house.
Yeah, not a human that passed haunted, but just a energetic entity, spiritual kind of. I would just see things in the house and just always felt like I was being watched with ill intent. And I came into this world as just a very sensitive soul.
Yeah.
Very sensitive, very empathic. So just very attuned to what was around me. And so having this sense of this thing in the house just really kind of overwhelmed me. And I grew up in a very conservative Christian home, and we even went to Christian schools. And so everything was about the church. And so everything that you're learning about the church, about God and protecting and guardian angels. And so when I would sense that there was something in my room, because I could see this smoky thing in the corner of my room with these like yellow eyes.
Oh, wow.
I would say, whatever it was in my little 7-year-old language, by the blood of Jesus, I command you to go, and nothing would happen.
It would just stay there.
Yeah. Nothing shifted. And so it was this really confusing, I'm told that Jesus is protecting me, but this is happening and I didn't know how to, I didn't have the words. And so I think I just learned how to disassociate and just how to like shut it down. But that carried over into my school. And being a people pleaser, trying to make like all of the kids around me like happy and like me, and
because you could feel when they weren't.
Yes. Yeah. And it was so like I was already didn't like being at home, and so like trying to ease my nervous system at school, which has led to an incredible amount of teasing and bullying. Like, my God, kids are mean. And I didn't have that like the street smarts, if you will, to know when I was being played. I would just, kind of deer-eyed follow and believe whatever anyone told me. And so just year after year after year, just like the teasing and the bullying, and it just kept getting worse. And thankfully, I say thankfully, if anyone that knows my family, we're all very tall.
Okay.
And so using my height to my advantage, I went into athletics. I went into sports. So I just, I wasn't very safe in school with all the bullying. I didn't like being home. So if I was in sports, then like the practices and the games and the tournaments, would kind of get me out of that. And I could use my height to my advantage.
And were you close with your teammates?
Not really. Okay. No.
But you enjoyed it to a degree. It was the lesser of three evils.
It was the lesser of three evils.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say like the school that I went to was a really small private Christian school associated with the church. So there were like 25 people in my class.
Wow.
So like I'm playing sports with people that I've never played before, begging for a parent to coach kind of a thing. Okay. So it wasn't like super competitive, but it kind of was. And to be fair to my basketball team, like we did win a couple championships. Like our basketball team was good. The volleyball team, not so much, but my parents put me into a club team to kind of get me out of the school to like really focus my talents, because I really enjoyed volleyball. But then I was introduced to these coaches that weren't associated with the church, and so their ethical behaviors, weren't necessarily.
Well, not that that's an automatic protection.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Right.
But there was a distinct difference between a parent coaching my volleyball team and then going into a club team that was public.
Okay.
Where there was just. Yeah, a lot of like energetic and verbal and emotional abuse in that. Mm-hmm. And the lesson that I learned from that was that my value was based on my performance. So if I did well, I was good. If I did bad, I was bad.
You're bad.
And just like the verbal abuse over and over and over again, and like how hard they pushed us in our training, and the expectations on our body, and like what our bodies looked like and how our bodies performed. And I even had a coach that said, he wanted our bodies to, like, he wanted his team to be the most attractive team in the tournament.
Oh, boy.
So it was just about how you looked.
How you looked.
Yeah, and how short our uniforms could get.
Oh.
So it was that kind of environment. So like I was just in this whirlwind of growing up going, how am I safe? What's my value? What's good? What's bad? How do I make sense of it? And where do I find safety? Because I couldn't find safety in...
I mean, you didn't have it in your bedroom because you had ghosts. You didn't have it at school because you had bullies. You didn't have it in sports because you had sexist, misogynistic coaches. Wow.
Yeah, what a confusing way to enter the world and try and figure out, okay, what's my place and what's my value and how do I fit and how do I make sense of any of this? And so, I think I entered into this cycle of abuse, and it got worse and worse and worse, and some of it pretty violent, unfortunately. And I just resolved that that's how life was. And I remember this moment. I don't quite remember if I was a senior or if I was a freshman in college, but something was happening. And to be fair, all of my trauma happened outside of my house, aside from the haunting.
But your parents didn't, there was, aside from forcing you into religious upbringing, which I would argue is traumatic, but you were not getting physically abused in your family of origin.
Oh, correct. No, my parents were very supportive and attentive, and it was only because I shut everything down and I never talked about it that no one knew what was happening.
Yeah.
Because everything happened outside of the house.
Okay.
So something was happening. I think I had a lot of death around me, accidents, overdoses, things happening, friends, people around me. And so my dad sent me down once, and he goes, and he had no idea what was happening in my life. He was seeing what was happening around me, and he goes, I don't know why you keep having to suffer, but God must have a plan for you. And I emotionally didn't say anything, but like that broke me. Because I go, this God who's supposed to have the best and greatest for my life is intending that I suffer. This is his best for me, is that I'm supposed to suffer.
Yeah.
And I'm the youngest of 5 kids, and I'm very different than my siblings.
Very different.
Very different from my siblings. And so they are extroverted and popular and successful and happy, and I know that they've had their own struggles, but I also know that I've had a very different life than they had.
Yeah.
And so to have my dad say, we believe in this God, we believe in this religion that's supposed to protect you, and you have guardian angels, but what's best for you is God's intending for you to suffer. And I think that's the moment when I just completely shut off.
Yeah, because now you can't, now you don't even have God. You don't have school, you don't have home, you don't have, sports, and now God's not on your side.
Right. And so I had just convinced myself that I missed my opportunity to be happy, that this was my lot in life. And I think because of the religious context, it never occurred to me to seek outside help or support or therapy. It just never crossed my mind, which seems really odd now based on where I am, but it just never occurred to me to seek outside help.
But it also, you're a bit younger than me, but therapy wasn't a big thing. It wasn't a big thing back then.
No, we didn't. Yeah, we weren't talking about holistic
No,
things.
Even therapy. I remember I was in my 20s, and my wife at the time took me to a therapist in Rochester, New York, because our very young marriage was suffering, and I didn't want to go. And then after telling my story for 20 minutes, she wanted to put me on Prozac, and I'm like, "You're fucking crazy. I'm out of here."
Right.
To me, yes. To me, therapy was you're broken.
Right.
And I was like, I'm fine.
Yeah. No one told me about acupuncture or Reiki or bodywork or massage or any kind of it was the church. It was the pew or I don't even know what else. I don't know what the or is.
There was no or.
Yeah.
So wow. So you got out of the house, went to college.
Went to college and had the worst years of my life, the most traumatic, violent years of my life.
Playing sports. Mm-hmm. And the violence was perpetrated through that?
Through that and off the court. It was on and off the court.
On and off the court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't know that I had a choice. Mm-hmm. I signed a contract with a scholarship, and I just didn't know that I had a choice to leave a situation that I knew wasn't healthy for me. Mm-hmm. And, I wasn't happy within the construct of the athletic department. And so I would drink. I would go out and drink. And that also wasn't safe and healthy for me.
Right.
So then things happened there too. It was like wherever I went, it was just this perpetual cycle. Like, it didn't matter where I went. Something, I would just walk into situations. So finally got myself out of that. Found my way into the corporate world and just kind of settled into a corporate job, keeping my head down with spreadsheets, just waiting out.
Taxes.
International taxes.
International taxes.
Which I do. Like, I love numbers because they make sense to me. There's no ambiguity with that.
Right.
So I was really good at my job, but it wasn't like what my heart
because
wanted.
you had said earlier, you wanted to go into some kind of physical therapy. You wanted to go into some kind of physical therapy, but you realized because your coach, basically your college coach, sort of forced you into particular majors, right? And those majors weren't supportive of you being a physical therapist, so you would have had to do school all over again.
Right. Yeah, I had a lot of injuries through my athletic career. And I think now in hindsight, looking back, I can kind of see, I think I orchestrated some of that because if I was injured, then my coaches would leave me alone.
Mm-hmm. You're on the bench. She's out. She's injured.
Right.
And you're still getting your scholarship money.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of leaves you alone.
If I'm injured, if I'm sick, I kind of orchestrated this whole slew of like ways for me not to be healthy.
Yeah.
As a way of being safe.
Yeah.
But then I would always heal.
But you said you like detached tendons from your ankle and like major stuff.
Yeah.
You even said like the doctors were using you as the medical school.
Yeah, they're like, put their head out the door. Hey, come look at this.
Come look at it. Wow. What happened to her?
Yeah.
We don't see this every day.
Yeah, and my mom was a physical therapist.
Oh, that's right.
And so I grew up watching her and like being really fascinated with what she was doing.
Yeah.
And she, of course, through all of my injuries would help me rehab. And there was something in me that was so interested in the healing process. Mm-hmm. And I was always the kid that like loved injuries, meaning like if someone like got sick or like, fell down and got a scratch, I was like, ooh, cool.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Oh, cool. What's that? Like I don't mind,
blood and gore and
No. Yeah. If there's a broken bone, I'm like, cool. How are you going to do it? Like, how are we going to fix this? Like, this is really cool. I just really like loved that stuff. So being an athlete and there were aspects of being an athlete that I really loved and enjoyed. So I was like, well, like maybe helping athletes heal. So like an athletic trainer or a physical therapist. But yeah, as you mentioned, I ended up with a business degree, like a really simple business degree. So I didn't take all of the anatomies and physiologies and scientific
biology
courses
and all that. Yeah, right.
So by the time I graduated with my collegiate or with my degree, in order to actually go into an education, because my only job in college was to be an athlete and nothing to do with education, unfortunately. It was just athlete. I realized I would have to completely redo my undergrad. And like that just didn't make sense to me. Yeah. And so I kind of threw my hands up and was like, well, here's just another
way to suffer.
Yeah. Another way of just like, life's not going my way. Mm-hmm. So settled into various, corporate careers and just settled in with, this is my luck in life. And
And then what was the catalyst? What so you didn't more bad things kept happening while you were in the corporate world?
And it was compounding on my physical body. And there was a couple things that happened that were really confusing. Like when people would touch me or things would happen and I would like have these like huge emotional bursts that were way bigger than what the situation called for. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't know what happened. And it would confuse me. It would confuse everyone around me. So I would just shut it back down again until it accumulated into hip pain.
Right.
Incredible hip pain that like would bring me to tears. Like anytime I was walking up a hill or up a step or any kind of effort forward was like pulling my femur out of the socket. And of course, all the doctors are like, nothing's wrong.
MRI. This is right. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll send you to physical therapy. I'm like, my mom's a physical therapist. I've done that. Like that's not the answer.
Yeah.
Until a friend of my sister's told me to go to a Rolfer. And I had no idea what that word was. Like,
this isn't Ralph. It's not R-A-L-P-H.
I was like, can you spell that for me? Like, what are you talking about? So I found a practitioner in the Philadelphia area. And through a series of sessions, she recognized that with all of the ankle injuries and that one ankle, because it was always the same ankle. It wasn't both. It was just one.
Just the one.
You know, all of the scar tissue was pulling on my knee, and that's what was pulling my femur out of the socket. And so she fixed my hip by working on my ankle.
Yeah.
And I was like completely shocked. Like, it was the first time that I was like,
yeah, the hip bone's connected to the, right.
Like, you're not going to give me, like, you're not working on my hip, you're working on my ankle. Like, it was the first time that I had any kind of sense that there was a holistic, like, everything's connected, everything has a, I don't know if part is the right word, but everything's connected.
It's all connected, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And knowing what I know now, and again, this is before I had done any of my healing work, and so there's like blank parts. I don't know if we have conversations. I don't know if she asked me about my history, but I am sure she felt the trauma in my body. Yeah. Because again, I had never had therapy. I never talked to anybody.
And if you were having outbursts by somebody just touching you, then anybody with any degree of sensitivity was gonna key in on the fact that you had trauma in your body.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. And I don't think she asked me about it. If she did, I probably shut her down.
Sure. Sure.
But I was walking out the door and she said, "Hey, have you ever read the book, The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "No." And so she gave me the book. And it was one of those key moments that I can look back on in my life and go, that moment radically changed my life.
Yeah.
Because I realized like what my body was holding and like all of those emotional outbursts based on like when people were touching me in very simple, like positive, safe ways. My whole life made sense. Like, oh, this is my body and this is what my body is holding. And this is how much of my life experience and all of my trauma has been compounded in my nervous system deregulation, in my emotional deregulation, in my physical pain. I was like, oh, light bulb.
Light bulb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I went to go look at the training in Rolfing because I was curious about the prerequisites. Like, is this something that I could do without having to redo my undergrad?
Sure.
And come to find out, there are no prerequisites like that. Like, I could just enroll. And I was like, I'm leaving the corporate world. Like, this
Except you could just enroll, except what did you have to do in the training?
Well, this is what she said. So I was so excited. So I came back to her and I was like, hey, I really thank you so much. You've changed my life. I'm going to train to be a Rolfer. And she goes, I need to let you know that the way that the training works is in the morning, you do all of your science and biology and technical learning. But in the afternoon, everyone takes their turn standing in front of the class in their underwear. So you can start to train body alignment and movement. And then you practice on each other, in your underwear. And I think if I can imagine how my face was in that moment, I probably went white.
Yeah.
Going, there's no way I can do that. I mean, based on my history, there's just no way I can do that. And that was the very first moment, not reading the book, but that moment, I was like, I need help. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't just enroll in that program until I talk to someone about my trauma.
Yeah.
Because there's no way I'm going to get through a training like that. So then I was faced with
But you wanted to, but there's so you have this desire, and yet that there's physically it's not happening. Like, you
oh my God.
Yeah. Psychologically, you're not, no way.
No. Yeah. You want to put me in my underwear and stand in front of a man and lay on a table being passive as someone else touches me? Mm-hmm. No, that's not
happening.
That's not going to happen. So I went home going, holy shit, like, I need help. But like, talk therapy, I'm introverted and I have a dissociative nervous system. So there's no way I'm going to talk to a stranger about something. Like, I'll sit quiet for an hour. My preference, actually. So that's not going to work.
Yeah.
And my sister-in-law had been telling me about ayahuasca. Mm. But again, because of the athlete and the religious upbringing, drugs are going to like ruin my career, send me to hell, shame everything. Mm-hmm. But that time I went back to her and I was like, tell me again about this thing, because I think you said it was therapeutic. And because I know this woman, she's one of my best friends. I know she told me what ayahuasca was. Mm-hmm. What I honestly heard and retained was that you drink a plant, you don't talk to anybody.
Right.
And it's 20 years of therapy in one night.
Yeah.
And I was like, great, let's try that first.
Sign me up.
It's like, that ticks all my boxes of avoidance.
And I'll be fixed. Right.
Yeah, it was, I mean, that's literally all I heard. And I think it's good for my nervous system that I didn't understand like how complex that experience was going to be, because I don't know if I would have conceptually been ready for it.
Sure.
You know, I think I needed a big experience like that to get past my control mechanisms, to like not force me into an experience, but to, you know, get me past my nervous system. Because at that point, my control systems were so strong.
So strong.
And the disassociation was so strong.
Yeah.
That if there was anything that I felt was going to be challenging, I would just shut down.
Yeah.
So I think I needed something like ayahuasca to kind of override that, to get me into a place of like,
she overrides it.
Yeah, she does. Thank goodness.
Yeah. So you had that experience, and what was the outcome from your first journey? It was so simple. You know, obviously we didn't touch my trauma because I wasn't ready for it. Like the message that night was, you know, you've been walking backwards, like looking at your trauma, but like your future is forwards. You know, and it was a message of hope. Mm-hmm. Like you have a purpose and you can go forward, and you can go forward with purpose and precision. You know, it's why I love the tattoos of the arrows. You know, arrows represents like being pulled back and you're held, but then when you shot forward, you know, it's with a purpose. And so she kind of instilled just this, you've been hiding all of your life. Like you've been playing hide and go seek, but everyone stopped playing a long time ago. Like you're an adult now, you know, with empowerment. And your time is to, like, you have a purpose. I have a purpose for you. You need to turn around and walk forward. And so it was a very simple message, but it, like, eyes opened for the first time going, I can heal. I don't have to be the victim I don't have to be miserable. I can walk forward in my own life. Like my past doesn't dictate my future. Right. You know, it's a cliche, but you know, it was the first time that I felt that was possible, because I never got it from the religious church. Yeah. And so I didn't believe it to be true, because I thought that that's what I was trying to get from the religious church, and I never did. You never did. And this was the first moment of, no, there's healing for you possible. Right. And man, when I say that I came out of that, like with an urgency to do more, it's like once I got a taste that I could find joy, I went after it with a fervor. You were all in. I was all in, and I was like, I have to do this as much as possible. Yeah, and I want to back up I know ayahuasca is more and more in the zeitgeist these days, but just to give a little background, it's an Amazonian plant, generally grows in the Amazon. Two plants. Mm-hmm. There's a vine, Banisterius caapi, right? Banisterius caapi. Banisterius caapi, and then the actual ayahuasca. Oh no, then the leaf, the chacruna leaf, which has the actual medicine in it. I thought the chacruna leaf has the DMT. Chacruna has the DMT, but the spiritual essence of ayahuasca is in the Banisterius caapi. It's a vine that grows up a tree. Yeah. Traditional. And they work together. Yes. And so the ayahuasca vine on her own is not psychoactive, you know, but she contains this incredible amount of spiritual power, guidance, wisdom, healing, but she needs a psychoactive component. So in the jungle, they mix it with DMT. So DMT is a psychoactive component that opens her spiritual properties. Yeah. And DMT is a dimethyltryptamine is the actual, and it's a very very powerful psychedelic. It's widely thought in the medical community that your pineal gland creates a form of DMT, and there's other forms of DMT in the wild, in bark and whatnot. Correct. Yeah. In a toad. And that toad medicine. And it's also, the ceremonies are very beautiful because they're led by very trained is like the wrong word, but they're like these people that are healers, and they sing and the music the music for me has always guided the journey, the songs that they sing. And it's also, for many, it's a purgative. I'm sure people have heard the, is that the thing, it's going to make me throw up and poop. And yeah, it might. And you'll probably be glad for it.
Yeah, in this work, we call it getting well.
Yeah.
Right, because you're purging out the things that don't serve you anymore. And there's a scientific biological reason, and there's a spiritual representation of it. I mean, in the jungle, they don't grind these plants into a fine powder, so it's very fibrous. It's a bark, and very often, like your body, your stomach just can't digest those substances, and so if your body can't digest it, it'll
out it comes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I read somewhere somebody asked one of the curanderos, one of the healers, how did you know to combine? There's thousands of plants in the jungle. How did you know to combine these two? And they said, well, the jungle told us. The jungle told us to do this. And that's the level of wisdom that these people operate at.
Oh, it's beautiful. That's how they found Kambo too. It's such a beautiful story.
The frog medicine. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's their form of technology and information is through these sacred plants.
That they have generations and generations of their lives have passed this on.
Yeah, it's so incredible. And to start to learn about all of the plants that our earth has, it really is an apothecary. And so I started learning about ayahuasca, sitting with it over and over and over and over again. And then I started to, find out about hape and sananga and kambo. I was like, wait, there's other plants that do things?
Right.
Once I found out that there was others, I'm like, I've got to study. I'm all in.
There's my path. And you also then did the Rolfing training?
Or? I did. So I got pretty quickly, I think within 2 or 3 ayahuasca ceremonies, I felt confident enough to enroll.
To stand in your underwear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was so interesting because I was sitting with these medicines as I was going through the training. And it was fascinating to me what I was processing through the medicine experience. And then, the next week I would go to the school and we were practicing each other. And it's like the memories that were coming up in my body were correlating with what I was processing in the medicine. Like it was very much a partnership. And so, just from the very beginning, I realized that there was a deep connection between my subconscious and, healing my emotional state versus what my physical body was holding. So it wasn't a question that I needed to continue to do both, the physical touch and the...
Yeah. I know that between MDMA, I had frozen shoulder in addition to my pelvic problems. And I had, it was the left shoulder would just knock me to my knees. The pain was so intense. And I tried physical therapy and I tried the shot, the cortisone shot. It might as well have been saline because it did nothing. And I sat for my first MDMA ceremony with an underground therapist and had this big realization about my upbringing. And when I walked in, I couldn't move my arm in about a 15-degree radius. And when I walked out, I could move my arm. And then after sitting with ayahuasca a couple months later and doing integration work, I realized that it was my left arm, and I realized that it came from getting spanked as a child. My father would lift me up by my left arm to spank me. And when I had that realization, then I was on the road to healing. And then, so it was still stiff when I came out of the first, it took a couple of years to get rid of the stiffness, but, I just shudder to think if I had actually been able to afford to go and have surgery, it wouldn't have done shit. And the doctors were nice enough to say, it doesn't usually work. Surgery doesn't usually do anything. But that was undeniable. I literally had to pull my car over when I had the realization because I had to cry so hard involuntarily. It was, it sounds terrible. It was great. Giving me that every day if there's, but that was what was stored in there.
Yeah. I want to be really careful about the Institute, and the work that they're doing, but I felt bodies differently than what they were telling me to. And part of our training was leave the woo-woo out the door, approach the body with science, right? There's a very strict...
Within Rolfing. Okay.
There's a very strict way of unwinding the body. But anytime that I was practicing with my clients, I was like, but I'm just feeling it differently. I just could tell that I wasn't understanding what they were saying because what I wasn't tuning to, because remember, I'm super sensitive.
Yeah.
What I was feeling in someone else was different. And one of the last clients that I worked with was having shoulder pain. And so we were working, and I could just tell that there was something else there. And then she left and came back the next day and she goes, Lisa, I have to tell you that after you worked on me, I went back to the car, and this memory came in of when I was in high school, and I was in the passenger seat of my boyfriend's car, and he started attacking me, and that was her left shoulder. Mm-hmm. And she goes, I realized that that's what the tension was that I was holding in my shoulder, kind of made sense. And so I cried and I screamed and I got it out. And she goes, and now my shoulder is okay.
Yeah.
And that story was like, I knew it.
You knew it. You knew there was something there.
I knew based on my own physical experience and based on her. Mm-hmm. And then I think it was like 2 weeks later, I graduated and I immediately went to the jungle for 2 months. And that's like and I went through another like massive emotional healing where I was manifesting all kinds of stuff in my body. But this is really where like the medicine and my physical experience and my body work connected. It was like everything is combined. And if I'm going to do my work, I have to combine.
Yeah.
Or I at least have to hold the complexity of the multiple layers, that it's not just the physical fascia.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not just one thing.
Yeah.
The plane doesn't fall out of the sky because one thing goes wrong.
Right.
It's always a cascade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's times when it is just physiological. Like we get a knot in our shoulder, we
Sure.
hyperextend a limb.
Break a leg, whatever. Yeah.
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 But the unexplained pain, the chronic pain,
the fatigue, the brain fog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's when my ears perk up and go, okay, what else is happening in your life?
Right.
Because
or the muscles that won't release.
Right. Like
the shoulder or the lower back. My whole life I had lower back problems, and it was because I was shoving everything down.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to express it. Shove it down, shove it down, shove it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the times that you release and you feel better, and then a half hour you come right back up. Like that's not a physiological restriction, right? That's a nervous system protective pattern. There's something else that's causing that fascia to, tense. That's a nervous system response.
Yeah. So this journey, this stuff was 10 years ago, 15 years ago?
That would have been, I graduated from the Rolf Institute in 2018.
Okay. So yes, it was 8 years ago, going on 8 years ago, yeah. Mm-hmm. And worked, and then you said you worked with these other medicines. You found Kambo and the Sananga, which, that stuff is, whoo.
I love it.
Sananga, and that's a medicine, it's from the jungle. Is it an animal or is it a plant?
It's a root.
It's a root.
Mm-hmm. It's like the liquid from a root.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Sananga
root. My understanding is they use it for hunting. They put the hunters for visual acuity. They drop it in their eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it cleans the eye.
Oh, it cleans it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sure does. But also nervous system,
Yeah.
They use it in the jungle for hunting because it cleans your eyes. So like sharper vision.
Yeah.
In our culture, we're not going into the jungle and hunting.
But we're staring at computers all day long.
Right.
Yeah.
And the third eye, like it's used for vision, like third eye vision, but it actually cleans the cornea and cleans the eye.
Yeah. People have reported like not needing glasses after using it.
Mm-hmm. Really good for nearsightedness.
Repeatedly. After using it repeatedly, yeah.
And for headaches too, even for migraines.
Oh, for migraines. Okay.
Yeah, because it forces the ocular muscles to contract.
Okay.
And so it's almost like the pendulum concept. It's like you go into the pain, you go into the contraction. So when you release, and it's a full release.
Yeah.
So it's the same with because Sananga will force your eye muscles to contract. It forces your eyes closed.
Yes, it does.
And so it contracts all the muscles. And then when it finally releases,
it's a bigger release all the way back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fascinating. Yeah. So Kambo, Sananga, psilocybin came along somewhere in there.
Yeah, I don't even remember where mushrooms came in. But the Kambo I found right before I went to the jungle, because I was in all of these ayahuasca ceremonies and they knew that I'm a body worker.
Okay.
And so I would do a work trade, so I would do a lot of body work on the facilitators and those that were working in exchange for sitting.
Yeah.
Because I was a poor student. And I kept seeing these people with these red dots on their arms.
Right.
I'm like, what? Like, who's in the know? Like, I thought I was in the know.
What are the dots?
Like, I know that there's like secret Hape circles happening. Like, what else is happening? I was super curious. So I finally asked. And I didn't necessarily want to do all the vaccines to go into the jungle. And I knew that it was, supposed to fortify the immune system. So I got introduced to a Kambo facilitator who is also a human design practitioner.
Very cool.
And again, like talking about like finding these things.
I need to get that number because I want to have a human design person on that.
I have exactly who you can talk to.
Great.
But to the the title of your podcast, The Permission Slip, it was like I was finding all of these medicines and all of these things that gave me permission to be who I was.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm not like my siblings. And so my only form of example of who to be and how to be successful wasn't how I'm designed to be. Like my siblings are motors. They're generators.
You're a projector?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Very strong projector.
Yeah.
Like I need an invitation.
Yeah.
And so, I learned Kambo through her and like how to regulate my nervous system. Because again, like ayahuasca was good for my life processing, but like my nervous system was still unregulated.
Out of whack.
And Kambo was amazing to teach me how to be uncomfortable and sit with it.
Oh, okay.
And then she taught me about human design and projector. Mm-hmm. And that it's okay that I'm not like my siblings.
Right. That you don't have a motor, you don't have a constant energy source, and you need the invitation.
Right.
And
I have 4 hours a day where I can work.
I was going to ask how it worked.
Rest.
Yeah, right. Oh my God, what a life changer that was, learning that I needed a lot of rest, and it was okay. It was okay to get the rest.
Permission to be me, that I don't have to be like...
Go. I was going 18 hours a day when I was running that damn photo lab, and it almost killed me.
Yeah. So the people that I was meeting in these ceremonies, like I remember walking into an ayahuasca ceremony and like someone hugged me and asked me how I was. And I was like, oh my God, you mean it. Like they actually meant it.
Yeah.
It was such a, like everything that was involved in these psychedelic medicines in this culture, in these groups, and like what they're using for resources.
Right.
Just was like the biggest sigh of relief. Like, this is my world.
Yeah.
This is where I belong.
Yeah.
And thank God, because it took me 37 years to find it.
But what is time?
Well, I'm now that I'm where I am, I can look back and go, like, I've learned all my lessons. I've learned how to heal my physical body. Mm-hmm. I've learned how to regulate my emotional body. I've learned how to regulate my nervous system. I've had to readjust my belief systems around my value and who I am and what's good or bad or appropriate or inappropriate. Based
on what your body tells you.
Yeah.
And like tuning into, how does this feel? Are you an emotional projector? Or are you what's your...
I don't know if I know that level. Like I think I'm a spleen.
You're splenic. Okay, so you feel the thunk.
I feel it.
You feel it, yeah. So I'm emotional. It's a wave for me. I'm solar plexus. It's different.
No, I feel it. But in a religious context where I'm told something,
right,
then I'm like...
It's trying to overriding it.
Doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what to replace that truth with. Right? Yeah. I didn't know my truth.
Right. When your truth is what your body tells you is your truth. Because that's the ultimate arbiter.
Yeah. It's the intuition. Because we grow through life. And here's like where psychedelics play a huge part in the work that I do. We learn truths, quote unquote, that maybe aren't actually in alignment with our truth. I have to perform my value. I should be shamed. I should, be guilty. I'm a sinner. It's not okay because of my bullying. It's not okay to be who I am. Right. I'm not good enough. All of these things that I need to be
pretty. I need to wear the short shorts. I need to.
Yeah, my body has to look a certain way.
Right.
I have to perform.
Right.
Oh, I have to do what he tells me to. And all of this is like subconsciously being filtered through my default mode network, my prefrontal cortex, my command center. So I'm filtering information through all of these, again, truths. I'm not cognitively doing it day to day. It's just it's just normal life.
You're swimming in it. You basically, that's our culture.
Yeah.
All of these things that you describe is much of our culture.
Right. Yeah, so working with these sacred medicines to quiet that. So I'm filtering information through a different perspective going, oh, that's not my truth. Oh, that's not how life works. Oh, I can set boundaries. I can be safe. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I could have done that with like talk therapy or anything else. It was just through the biochemical brain functions of these medicines and how they work. And then having facilitators who were ethical, where I could ask questions and they could guide and...
Yeah, because what I would ask, like, what sort of integration work, if you weren't doing therapy, what were you doing outside of the medicines? Were you doing work on integration, or it was things were falling into place?
I think I started collecting really good people around me.
Yeah. Yeah, so did I. Very lucky.
Yeah. I started recognizing like who I needed to be around, and then asking questions of them and watching. You know, a lot of people ask me who my teachers are, and I don't have a lot of human teachers. It's all been through plant-based experiences.
Yeah.
And I learned very quickly. Once I see it and I understand it and I experience it, like once I get it, I get it. So I think putting some of these practices together, going, oh, I can set boundaries, and then trying it and going, oh, holy shit, it works.
It works. Yeah. Right. Oh, I'll do that again.
Yeah. It's like, oh, once I try it and experience it, got it, let's move on.
Yeah, because I mean, it seems to me the only reason like I wouldn't set a boundary in my own life was because I feared what the other person. There was fear around setting the boundary. I'm not allowed to set the boundary. I'm going to get in trouble if I set the boundary. I can't say no. And once you realize that you're the one where the fear comes from, but it took the medicines and the work to do that for me, and it sounds like for you too.
I just didn't know I could.
Yeah.
It wasn't modeled for me.
Right.
In any capacity. Or if it was, I wasn't paying attention. So I didn't know. I didn't know I could. I didn't know I have a choice. I didn't know that I could say no. And again, that like empathic, I had to learn how to be an empath. And I told people for years, it makes me laugh now, but I told people for years that I feel other people's emotions stronger than my own. And so everything I did was appeasing the other.
Okay, sure.
Because it was more important to me that you were okay, you know, at this self-sacrifice of myself.
Right.
And it took me, I mean, I don't know how long, but it took me kind of restructuring that to go, oh, I think actually, I know who it was. Someone, I went to do like an energy healing just because I'm curious about everything. So I was doing everything I could. And she goes, someone else's temporary disappointment is not more important than your truth.
Oh, there you go.
And I also remember when I was leaving the corporation, there was a partner that I had befriended. And, you know, I was like, because my ego was like, I do so much. Like, if I leave, who's going to, and she was like, this is a big corporation. Like, we're going to figure it out. It's fine.
Right.
Like, don't, like,
that's so funny.
Set your ego down.
I had the same thing. I had a job I didn't like at a position at Eastman Kodak years ago. And I was like, I can't leave. Like, the whole company will come crashing down, you know, all 75,000 employees.
Yeah, right. I know,
right?
like my ego. I'm like, I do so much. I hold the team together. She was like, don't kid yourself. She goes, yes, thank you, but we'll figure it out. So when this other teacher told me that, like someone's temporary disappointment, I remember, you know, when she told me that, and sure enough, the corporation is still running today and
doing just fine. Kodak's not, on the other hand. So maybe there was something. Maybe there was something to that.
Maybe there was something in your position, but for mine, yeah, they're certainly fine. And I just started taking these lessons to heart, going, how do I live safely? Because I know that I can. So what's preventing me from doing that? And it's
because you finally got those experiences of safety in your body, which was my experience of not having had that before. And then once you're like, oh, that's possible. Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I can have emotional safety. Oh, I can regulate my nervous system. Oh, I don't have to just be at the pleasure of others.
You're right. Right.
Well, then fuck that.
I'm not going to be.
Sorry, like I'm hoping I can swear here. But
we're 18 plus.
A lot of that was, you know, after 35 years of being like used and abused and all of that, I was like, fuck no, never again.
Yeah, never again.
So it was just finding ways to make sure that I could hold that to be true. That like my never again actually meant never again.
Yeah.
Oh, and I mean it.
Yeah. Yeah. You say it, you mean it. Yeah. I know when I've worked with the toad medicine, that as I'm coming out of it, oftentimes the woman will be whispering, I say what I mean what I say. I say what I mean what I say. As a reprogramming, because that's when you're wide open on that stuff. And still there are layers, right?
Yeah.
We still do our own work. So you got fixed. And now you're fixing other people. I'm using that tongue in cheek. Nobody's broken. We're not fixing anybody. So tell me about how do you work with people these days?
I do. So psychedelic-integrative bodywork. So I bring in low dose psilocybin with hands-on work because a large part of my work is around the conversations that we've been having, that there's multiple layers to our existence. And trauma is not linear, and stresses aren't linear. I didn't have to just fix my physical body. I had to figure out emotional regulation, nervous system regulation, belief patterns, and my sense of who I was and my value. And a lot of the traditional modalities that we have will hit on 2, maybe 3 of those, but not all 5. And for me, I used psychedelics and bodywork together. So it was just an obvious, because those 2 combined hit all 5 together. Traditional talk therapy, right? Emotional regulation, belief patterns, sense of self. But it's not addressing physical pain,
right,
or tension, right? Therapists don't touch their clients traditionally.
God forbid.
Psychedelics, like if you go into psychedelic therapy, same kind of thing, but again, not addressing the physical. I mean, there may be like Kundalini energy, there may be things, but you're not integrating it through the physical body. Body work, of course, you're addressing the physical body, but you're not addressing the deep down layers of...
Right. Some of it, like, Jonathan Tripoti's work, I think you listen to his, like the myofascial work. If you can, you can address some of the psychological stuff too, because you can be having conversations about what are you feeling here?
Right.
What are you ready to let go of? And
right.
Voicing it. I let go of this. Thank you for, the human garage too. I don't know if you're familiar with those folks.
Yes.
They have a big movement of doing self, maneuvers to yourself. It's been life-changing for me to do the human garage work.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's the physical body is a conduit to bring your attention to all of the other layers, if you're aware.
Right. And it's like, Laura, who's my friend, who's a channel, who's been on here a couple of times, her beings, her non-physical beings say, well, up here where we exist, all we know is love and light and everything's contentment on up. So you're down there in bodies to have these experiences in bodies that you can't have where you come from.
Right.
So you're in the body, take care of the body.
Right.
And the stuff manifests in the body.
It does.
So and so you said also you were working with psilocybin, but you also mix in the Banisteris, copy the ayahuasca.
Depending on who I'm working with. I mean, it's an MAOI inhibitor. So depending on medications and other things, I can bring in the ayahuasca vine, which is, I mean, of course, I'm biased because I use it professionally, but it is my favorite combination of medicines, using the psilocybin with the ayahuasca vine. You get the best of both characteristics of both medicines. So you get the teacher aspect of psilocybin, and because I can be very careful with the psychoactive dosing of psilocybin. So I'm usually working with a low dose, like between 0.5 gram and 1 gram.
Yeah, and for reference, a typical like 2.5 grams and up is sort of considered like and you get 3 and up, you're kind of getting a hero dose territory, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So you're down there and above microdosing, which is a big thing and very useful.
Yep. But
you're not macrodosing. It's not generally speaking, a blow the lid off things.
Right. Because I want you to stay present with what's happening in your physical body.
Yeah.
So I combine the medicine with the hands-on work. So my clients all stay completely dressed. And I typically work over a blanket. Mm-hmm. And it's a low dose amount of medicine. So I want you to feel it, but you're still present with what's happening in your physical body. And we just, using myofascial release, go really, really slow. Find the points of like where your body is holding, like where's the tension, where's the pain, where's the restriction, where's the protective pattern. Mm-hmm. And letting the client work internally with the medicine. What are they holding? Is it even theirs?
What's behind it? Yeah.
Yeah, because epigenetics.
Yeah.
And if you're an empath, you're holding for for other people. And our world is challenging right now. So there's a lot of holding for other people in a collective
in a collective sense, right?
Yeah.
Other people's pain. I love, what was the analogy when in the preamble when we were talking about the analogy of the mushrooms and the grandmother? Because ayahuasca
it's my favorite.
Yeah, ayahuasca is known as grandmother. It's a very feminine healing energy.
Yeah, there's no hierarchy to these medicines, but if there were, she's the grandmother. She's the grandmother. Teacher. You know, she's the gray-haired elder that's been watching with all of the wisdom going, Matt,
straighten your shit out.
You know, I've been watching and we have some things to talk about, or Lisa has some things to talk about, you know, and yeah, my favorite, I don't know if this is fair, but my favorite visual is I heard psilocybin referred to as little 8-year-olds, little hyper 8-year-olds running around. Uh-huh. Because it can be a phonetic energy. I mean, depending on the strand, right? This is a generalization.
Yeah.
But when psilocybin is coming on, it can be a little bit hard for the nervous system to regulate,
especially in higher doses.
Exactly. Yeah. And then thought patterns like start to jump around, you know, a lot of little different rabbit trails.
Squirrel. Yeah.
Exactly. And so when you bring the two together, it's like the grandmother kind of like calms all the 8-year-olds, has them sit down, but then they bring up the lightness in her, you know, so I can like through the dosing of the psilocybin control, like how psychoactively, you know, big the experience is. And then with the ayahuasca vine, it's like these long, prolonged periods of like one thought pattern to go like if I'm in your shoulder to go, okay, what are you holding? Like what's the responsibility, left side, right side, masculine, feminine, you know, and spending a good maybe 45 minutes just in the shoulder to go, what are you holding? What does it need?
Yeah.
You know, is it an emotional? Is it a nervous system protective pattern? Is it a belief system that I have to, like I am responsible for my family?
Yeah, or the world or whatever.
Or the world.
Company or the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Or is it a sense that, you know, well, I'm not worth it, so, you know, I'll be the martyr. You know, a victim consciousness. Oh, I have no choice. Life is just happening to me. Like, so there's different layers, you know, so to give yourself to go, okay, is it emotional? Is it energetic? Is it nervous system? Is it belief system? Like what is happening? Or maybe a combination of 2 or 3 or all of them. So it's a really slow process of just systematically going through the body and realizing what are you holding? Where did it come from? What does it need? And then the hands-on touch really integrates the whole thing out of your body. So typically by the time someone finishes a session with me, they're fully integrated.
Oh, wow.
Right, because you're processing and integrating at the same time.
At the same time. And it's in what the typical length, 5-6 hours?
5 hours.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, 5-hour process. Again, fully dressed, low dose medicine. Unexplained pain is my favorite. I don't know why. The doctor said nothing's wrong. You know, chronic pain, tension. And I have so many stories of like your example of like the shoulder being held up by your dad as you were being spanked. You know, I just had a client maybe a week ago with neck pain, you know, and his head is forward. And he realized, oh, he was hit upside the head all the time as a kid. Like his dad would just come up behind him and just smack him upside the head.
So he was always ducking it, pulling it forward.
Yeah. And he was like, oh, that's why, you know, physiologically he's always hunched forward. Yeah. You know, because of like just expecting that he's going to get hit upside the head. Wow.
I had a woman that I was in retreat with in the course that I was enrolled in. I was in retreat earlier this year. And after we did a bunch of anger exercises, and she had whiplash, and it came from in nursery school, a kid tripped her, did something, pushed her, and she'd had whiplash her whole life, and she's in her 50s at least. And she couldn't lift her head to eat.
Oh, you told Jonathan? Yes.
Did I tell this story?
Yeah, keep going already? Though. It's a good one. Keep going.
Yeah, and she couldn't lift her head to eat, and I just had this sense of like I need to do. I was standing next to her in line for dinner, and so I worked on her, and I did some myofascial work as Jonathan had trained me, and to this day, she said it's basically gone. But she also had an abusive father, and I was just as loving as I could be. I ended up. She still couldn't lift her head, so I ended up feeding her, which was really moving to her. That I fed her. She couldn't believe that somebody was going to actually. Of course, I'm going to feed you soup. Yeah. What, are you going to starve? Like you're going to not eat?
Yeah.
And sometimes that's all we need. I mean, it literally can be that simple.
Having our needs met. And being seen.
And being allowed to have needs.
Right. Without justification or without question or without trying to defend. I mean, one of my biggest pet peeves right now is when in our society, if someone's having an emotion, people asking for a justification before I validate your emotion. So if I were to come in and say, oh, I'm really anxious about this podcast. And you're like, why? We're friendly. It's okay. There's nothing, to be worried about. Right. Or like walking into a house party going, I don't know. I just don't really feel safe. Why? You know everyone here. It's not that big of a deal. We're only going to be here for a minute. You know, there's this habit of, justify.
Overriding.
Yeah. And if I don't agree with your justification, I'm going to dismiss your emotion. And that's such a disservice.
Yeah.
And there's gender expectations, of course, around emotions and what's appropriate or inappropriate. There's religious expectations, that certain emotions are deemed good or bad, sinful, appropriate, or, how we or appropriate.
Yeah, sinful or appropriate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like emotions are an innate part of our human existence. Now, what triggered it, we can talk about. How you express the emotion, we can talk about.
Right.
But the validity of our experience, and even if we do like inner child work or IFS work, a lot of what we're holding in our system emotionally and energetically and belief systems like just want to be seen.
It just wants to move. I mean, that was the powerful work I did with ISTA. I interviewed Rich, who was one of my facilitators at one of the retreats. Was the emotions, their energy in motion. They want to move through the body. And once they do, they're usually gone. It's transient. But we hold on to them because they're suppressed for any one of these reasons that you... Mm-hmm. And once you get locked into that pattern... Mm-hmm. I mean, I still have the pattern. I still, something comes up that's a little bit overwhelming. And if I'm in... depending on the context, is it, if I'm by myself now and something comes up and I feel a need, it'll come out of nowhere. And all of a sudden I feel I have to cry. Okay, I just cry. Mm-hmm. Just fucking cry.
I'm so happy for you that you can do that. Yeah, it's our autonomic nervous system. Like a lot of those protective patterns just happen on reflex. It happens without logic or thought. It's what we
suppress, right?
It's what we do by default. And it's good that we can do that. Like if you're truly in a stressful situation and you need to get yourself to safety, of course you don't want to fall apart on the side of the street.
Right.
You need to be able to hold it together.
Right.
But how often do we allow ourselves to
actually let it go? Yeah, and the example that's given, in those retreats is that, look at animals, you look at a dog, something happens to the dog. Sure, they hold it together to escape the predator or whatever. The adrenaline kicks in and they go. But then what do? They shake. Once they're safe, they shake, and then they're fine. Mm-hmm.
And our system actually does that too. Most clients that I work with, within the first 20 minutes as the medicine is coming in, they will start having somatic releasing, like shivering. As though they're cold, but they're not.
Cold as old, yeah.
Yeah, it's like our system is brilliant. It knows how to come back to regulation if we allow it.
Yeah.
And so, we don't naturally, I don't know if humans ever had the capacity to
naturally shake. Maybe, who knows, back in the day.
Maybe we evolved out of it. I don't know either.
I talked about this on my podcast with Janelle, one of my Pilates instructors. And I've had probably 12 instances early on in Pilates where I shook for anywhere from 5 to 25 minutes in Pilates. And because I was fortunate to know that it was good, I didn't stop it.
Yeah.
I leaned into it, in fact, because I knew that the body wanted to unwind. And as it did, things resettled, bones resettled, muscles resettled. Mm-hmm. So I love that. I love that analogy and that kind of that work. This is the stuff right here, folks. Like, this is the shit.
Of course I'm biased, but this is how I've healed. I've been doing this work for 8 years now. Hundreds of clients, and I have all of these stories of people who have been in psychotherapy for 40 years or decades. I say 40 years because I'm talking about like one client in particular. Yeah. Lower back pain, had a back surgery scheduled, came in and did a session and realized his lower back pain was PTSD from an abusive father, and a whole myriad of other things. I can tell stories for days, but I do this work because it saved my life.
Right.
I was at a point where I didn't even have suicidal ideations because I didn't even have the awareness that was possible. Like I was just a shell of a human. Existing at the whims of whoever was around me. And to have these medicines pull me out, to have the body work, to know that I can be safe, that I'm a sovereign being. Right. That my physical body can be safe, my emotional body, my nervous system, that I have say over what happens around me. And I had to kind of figure that out on my own. I had my sister-in-law that told me about ayahuasca, but there wasn't anyone else in my life to have these conversations with. And so, again, 10 times over, thank you for the invitation to have this conversation. Yeah, thanks for being here. There's anything I can do to stand in advocacy for anyone else, to go, you're not alone. That healing is possible. Then I have dedicated my life to this.
Yeah. Beautiful. I love it. So, we'll put, links in the thing. But your website is Trilome.com, Trilome.
Correct.
.com, where you can reach Lisa. And she's currently on the West Coast, but does travel throughout the country. How do you, before we wrap up, what does a typical engagement look like in terms of, as a preparatory meetings? Are there, what's your preference? How do you like to work with people?
Yeah, if it's someone that I've never met before, then we'll do a sober bodywork session first. It's all about nervous system regulation and building safety and security. So someone would come in and do just a regular bodywork, again, fully dressed. They get to know me, my touch, and if there's a yes that they want to go further, then we would schedule a Trilome session. Again, that session is 5 hours. When they come in, there's a lot of conversation to prep the nervous system and just make sure that there's, full consent to, what's happening. Again, then I would serve a low dose amount of medicine. They get on the table, lead them through a meditation as the medicine starts to activate and come in. And then it's 4 hours of hands-on work. And then after that is integration, soup, all of the typical post-ceremony delights to ground, before they leave.
Okay.
I do have 5 different practitioners that have graduated from my program. So if you're not in California, there's one in Georgia. There's 2 soon that'll graduate in Washington, D.C., Minnesota, Washington State, and then there's another one that's with me in California. So part of my goal is to educate and teach. So teaching other body workers and massage therapists how to safely and ethically do this work. So my next cohort is starting January 5th.
Oh, beautiful.
And I'm not sure when this is going to air, and then the one after that will be in June.
Okay. Probably a little after January.
Yeah. So starting to build practitioners outside of myself.
Sure.
So if anyone that's listening is interested and you're not in California, hopefully there's someone that's close by. But all of that information is on my website.
Beautiful. And and again, to reiterate, the sessions from a medicine standpoint aren't typically super trippy, super, like it's not about blasting off and.
No. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Not at all. Yeah. It's not a macro experience. It's a low dose. So you have that energetic and spiritual opening to gain access to the subconscious and that just awareness and knowing of what you're holding. But you're very much conscious of the hands-on work that's being done. There's conscious consent the whole time that there's touch. At any point in time, as someone goes into a deeper process, then the hands come off until the eyes open and they make contact with me, and then they consent again to my hands to come back in. So there's a lot of different ways that I ensure safety with that. I'm not touching you while you're tripping somewhere.
Right. While
you're with me, and there's constant communication between the two of us around, okay, what are you holding? What's coming up for you? How are you feeling?
Yeah. So tell me if this sounds, it's sort of it's an accelerated way of dropping loosening the defenses, the Correct. Ego's defenses, right?
Correct.
Sometimes this can take, like Jonathan does beautiful work. His is most power, and I'm trained in it, and his most powerful over like a 3 to 5 day intensive kind of a thing, because you want the nervous systems to get in sync and regulate and be comfortable. And this is a bit of an acceleration of that process, is how it's occurring to me.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Because of how it's working on the brain function, which is why I'm very specific about which medicines I use. And that's we could have a whole another
podcast about that.
Podcast about which medicines we use. But because we're looking at that prefrontal cortex, that logical command center to soften.
Yeah.
And that's what runs the defenses and the defense mechanism. So just to soften that so the subconscious truths can come through. So to your point, it's just an accelerated way of really connecting to the deeper layers.
Yeah, and loosening up the armor.
Correct.
Yeah, without requiring you to stand naked in front of her or stand in your underwear in front
Correct.
of her.
Yeah. Well, paying attention to the nervous system, it's not a forcing the nervous system to relax. It's meeting it where it is and going, okay, you're defensive for a reason.
Yeah, it served you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's pause with that and go, okay, what are you still defending? Is it still necessary? And then and only then do you go in deeper. So it's not a forcing of anything. It's just meeting.
Yeah.
It's meeting your system where it is and who's asking for attention, and because the body will adjust and rest and come back. I mean, it doesn't want to be on guard all the time. It wants to rest.
Right. And it knows, ultimately it knows homeostasis. Ultimately, it knows how to heal itself.
Correct.
But we have to get these protective mechanisms out of the way. Do you do anything with EFT, tapping? Have you experienced anything with tapping before? Emotional freedom
I have.
technique?
I don't do that with the Trilome work, just because it can be overstimulating when someone's altered.
Okay.
I do a lot of cranial sacral.
Okay.
With it. In my sober sessions,
some tapping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've done it going into ceremony before ingesting, and it's been very powerful to kind of set things up. Alethea, who's another friend who was a guest, she's got a beautiful method of tapping, of inquiring and starting the conversation.
Sure, all of the different
all of the different trigger points on the head and face. And
I mean, it's fascinating. There's so much out there, and there's not one way that works for everyone. So I love everyone's creativity. Yeah. And I even tell my practitioners, I'm not teaching a dogma. Like, bring your own. There are certain guidelines that I mandate specifically. But, if a practitioner wants to do tapping beforehand, or a practitioner, there's one up in Washington she'll use sound bowls.
Okay.
I think it's beautiful. Like, bring your own magic. Like, bring your own way of doing things, because someone's going to love that.
Right.
Here's how I do it. But
yeah, amazing.
I love it.
Yeah, fabulous. Well, thanks so much for being here, for making the trip. So great to meet you and talk.
Oh, same. Again, thank you so much for the conversation. Really enjoyed it.